Hotel staff of Reddit. How often do you catch people nude in the halls, and what's your best story? NSFW. I used to work at Great Wolf Lodge. I'd catch people having sex in the hot tubs quite often. It was always awkward having to go tell them to stop. Edit. Again. Not Wisconsin Dells location, this was Virginia. But I'm sure this happens at all of them. You have nothing to worry about. They keep up with the water quality very well. At least when I was there. No, you cannot get pregnant from swimming in a pool with jizz. Last week, I had to shoo an amorous couple out from behind the dumpster. Our hotel has the worst smelling dumpster I've ever had the displeasure of experiencing. The thought of anything sexual going on back there is enough to make me gag. This was about 5 to 6 years ago, but I'll probably never forget it. A couple was fucking all morning in a room I was supposed to clean later on. You could hear them on the entire floor. After lunch, I see them leaving, both in business suits, both very classy, late 30s, both very attractive. I opened the door and the room was trashed as if a rock star from the 70s stayed there. Crushed crisps, spilled booze, the sofa, the bed, the bathroom were such a mess those usual 20 minutes they give you for cleaning would never be enough. Even for 3 people. They left a £40 tip on the table and a note saying, "Sorry." Had one dude full-on nude walking about, but that was boring. Best was a guy who called down, said he was locked out of his room after sleepwalking. Go up. He's just in boxers. I let him in, then come down to check the cameras. Dude was straight wandering the halls, penis in hand, slowly stroking it whilst he knocked on doors. Then comes back down the hallway, pees into a bin in front of the elevators, and then calls down. You can even see the moment he wakes up he looks confused and lost. Was a good laugh. He got charged hazardous waste cleanup fee. Finally one I can answer. I caught someone once. Well, I didn't have to catch them, monsieur, they came to me. I worked night audit at a local hotel. One night, morning around 5 a.m. I was at the desk when the elevator started moving. At the time we didn't have cameras, so I didn't know what to expect. When it stopped in the lobby, the doors opened and I see a man with a cart looking slightly shocked. Then from the blind spot from where I was standing out stepped a man with a cigarette in hand and nothing but a small towel around his waist. He looked pissed. He stormed up to the desk and demanded a new room key, all while yelling about how he got lost in that confusing as fuck rooms. I confirmed his room best I could given the situation and sent him on his way. The poor man that was in the elevator with him looked like he saw more than I didn't want to talk about it. An hour later the man came down to the lobby to check out and demanded a full refund for embarrassing him and for not clearly labeling the balcony door and the hallway door. I laughed and told him to call my manager, which he did later that day. Kicker is the room he was in had 2 doors. A bathroom door on one side of the room, monsieur, and on the completely other side with a fire map, chain lock and deadbolt the room door. There was no balcony attached to his room, monsieur. Not my story. But my brother manages a nice hotel that happens to be near a red light district. One day, he gets this tourist who books a double room for a month. Ideally as far away from the main entrance as possible. Guest checks in, and starting on the 3rd day, there's this conga line of prostitutes coming in and out of the guy's room, monsieur, by my brother's own count. The guy's personal record is 16 different women in a day. That's not the crazy part. One day, guest comes to front desk with a woman on each arm and asks my brother if he could book an Uber. Brother obliges and books the guest an Uber. Guest then tips with a prostitute. As in, full-on offers the girl up to him and says, "Do you want to have a go?" Quote, "I sincerely hope nobody ever takes a black light to that room, monsieur." Edit. To answer the important question, no. He did not partake. He was on shift and working front desk at the time. One time housekeeping brought the front desk a bag of sex toys that were left behind. After 5 seconds of checking the system, I find that the guests are here for 2 more nights. Housekeeping ran back to put the bag where they found it before the guests came back. I used to work security at a large casino resort, and we got a call at around 3 a.m. one night about a naked and frantic woman running down the halls of one of our hotel towers. So we go up there and sure enough find the woman bawling her eyes out, completely nude. We got her a towel from the linen closet so she at least had something to cover up, and then she come down to tell us she had met a guy on the casino floor and went up to his room and he attempted to rape her and got all her clothes off and scratched her up pretty good, but she fought like hell and got out of the room. Needless to say, the cops came and the guy was dragged out and justice was served. Oh, he had a black eye when we got him out of the room too. She whooped his ass. Been working 3 years as a night manager and it honestly only happened once. Knocked on a room where I suspected that a guest was smoking on the room. He opened the door, completely nude and casual. I generally see at least one naked person a month. To be fair, my hotel is in the nightclub area, so everyone is usually fairly intoxicated. I've had my elevator turn into a softcore porn studio on multiple occasions. But the one time that always stands above the rest is one time this guy was going down on this young lady. The elevator was still on the ground floor and someone entered the lobby. After greeting the guest, I ran out on the back to watch the security camera. This young lady walked in on the other two. He pulls his head out from under the girl's skirt, wipes his face and smiles. I'm rolling on the floor laughing my ass off. Other enjoyable one was this guy come to reception because he locked himself out of his room. He was completely naked. Normally people try to get my attention in some subtle way. The guy just walks down 4 flights of stairs, walks to the desk and casually says, "I left my key in my room." I hand him a new key and he goes to walk back up the stairs. Sees a few girls looking at him from outside, gives them a wave and a pose, then proceeds back to his room. The level of "I don't give a fuck" this guy had still impresses me. Not a worker but saw a dude walking this hot chick like a dog with a leash in a hotel once. I was working morning shift one day and it was almost 3, so I'm getting ready to leave. The business center was right in front of the front desk, across the lobby. I'm counting money and I look up to see Big Booty Judy getting pounded out on one of the computers, and a guest with his junk out, going to town. I was in shock. Right then my coworker walks in and sees him too. She said, "Sir, this is a family hotel. Get to your room now." Quote, "If you're reading this, thanks for handling that." A guy somehow managed to lock himself out of his room naked and had to come to the front desk to get another key. The front desk is separated from the room since there are 5 buildings each with a certain number of rooms, and he was in the one furthest from the desk, so he had to walk naked across the property. The saving grace was that it was around midnight, so no one was around. Also, I was sitting down and the counter goes to around chest high, so I just thought he didn't have a shirt on until he was walking away, and I did a double take as I got a good look at his flabby ass. Had 2 young, mid-20s ladies come to the front desk at about 2:30 a.m. wrapped in towels, asking if they could take a swim. I told them the pool closed at 10 p.m. They dropped their towels and said, "How about now?" Quote, my reply, "Very nice, but you still can't use the pool. I still have the footage on VHS somewhere." Not a worker, but one time we had a bachelor party and rented a hotel for about 10 of us. One of our buddies got shit-faced before it even got dark, and we took him back to the hotel because he wasn't about to get in anywhere and kept complaining about being ready to go back. We dropped him off and proceeded to go on with our night. An hour or two later, the hotel called one of our buddies whose name was on the room and told us we needed to get back because our buddy was laying in the hall outside our room naked. I'm not sure what happened, but he lost the room key and for whatever reason decided to get naked so he could go to sleep. The room key was in his pocket. I used to work as overnight auditor for a hotel. One day while I was doing rounds at 3 a.m., I thought I saw something moving at the opposite end of the hallway and I was like, did I just see a naked man? Quote, this poor guy was sleepwalking butt naked while hugging himself. Our hallways are freezing cold. I approached him closer and said, hello sir. He turned his head and said, hey. I was like, is he still asleep? 5 seconds later, I guess he realized what was going on. He said, I'm so sorry. I gave him a rub from a nearby housekeeping closet, took him to the lobby to verify his identity. Obviously he doesn't have ID on him. I gave him a room key and followed him back to his room to make sure he doesn't sleep on his way back or whatever. I once worked in a hotel where the staff accommodation was a small house outside the back of the hotel, surrounded by 4 guest accommodation cottages. My friend and colleague had gone down to the hotel in the morning to make him and his partner breakfast on the way back, carrying a mug of coffee in each hand and a plate of toast balanced on each mug. He passed a family of newly arrived guests unloading their car into their cottage. The cord tying his bathrobe came loose and his gown came open, exposing all. With both hands full, he had no choice but nod, smile and say, morning, in the most cheery voice he could muster and walk on. Not sure what the parents made of this. I do feel sorry for the children though. *edit. Spelling. All these replies make me think I should start working in a hotel near a nightclub. Been working in hotels for about 5 years now and have a couple of goodies. 1. Was like 17 or 18, fresh in the industry, working the mini bar. So I have to check all rooms to see if they need anything. So I knock on this door like I do every day. Knock 3 times loudly and no answer. I go to walk in the room and I see a man butt-ass naked bumming another dude hard. Best thing about is they were so in the moment they didn't even notice me open the door, take a step in, and hurry out again. 2. Was doing nights on reception. My duty manager asked me to go for floor check because he was busy. Not a problem. Happy to stretch my legs. I noticed the pool lights were still on and door was open. Afternoon shift manager was meant to lock it at 9 p.m. So I go in and I notice a naked lady sitting the edge of the spa pool with a man performing oral sex on her. I make myself known and they quickly jump back into the water. I suggested they continue in their room and pissed myself laughing as they left in the lift. I then told my manager and we both had a good laugh. That footage is now saved in the Golden Moments file of the security footage. So many more, but those are my 2 favorites. Too often, drunk nude people really don't care about being seen walking between rooms or grabbing food, drink in the night. I hope this doesn't get lost. I know I'm late. My uncle was the general manager of a resort up in Pennsylvania and he told me a story about how a Little People convention came and had an event at the resort. The next day the honeymoon suite was vacant again, so they rented out to this newlywed couple. They weren't in the room but 10 or 15 minutes before screaming was heard. Turns out the night before there were 3 midgets staying in that room and they all got pretty trashed. So trashed that one of them got naked and the other 2 threw out him up onto wardrobe cabinet. He didn't wake up to the cleaning lady and so they thought the room was empty. The married couple screamed because they saw a pair of eyes peek up above the wardrobe as they were consummating the marriage. It's not every day you go on your honeymoon to find a naked midget above your wardrobe.